What's up, guys? I just came back from the Treasure Cup. I managed to get top 32 at the Niagara Falls Treasure Cup. And my record was good enough to make top 16, but my tiebreakers kind of fell short because I lost in the first round. But it is what it is, but still a pretty good result. I'm pretty happy with how I played. I don't think I made any really serious misplays. And I'll go over all the matchups and see things that I could have done differently and maybe some different card choices in my deck. But yeah, so these are my winnings. This is the chopper that you get for getting top 64. It's pretty cool. And I got 5 event packs for making top 32. So I was able to pull almost one of each. I pulled a duplicate ace, which I ended up trading for the Uta to finish my event card collection. So pretty cool that I was able to get one of each. And the storage box, which I'll be honest, it's a little bit underwhelming. It's just a cardboard storage box, but you know, I'll take what I can get. It's fine, I think. Yeah, it's got a cool Luffy silhouette there, but yeah, so I'll talk about my matchups now. Hey guys, so we're back here with the matchup. So I played Eustass Kid and I played in 9 rounds with 7 wins and 2 losses, and both of my losses were against Zoro. And going to the tournament, I was pretty confident against Zoro, but it turned out to be my downfall for the tournament. So I'll talk about how this round 1 went. So I went first, and I think I won the Dairo, so I chose to go first. And my hand was pretty good, I'd say. I think I had, you know, a 1 cost either Beach or Momo, and I opened with an Okiku. So yeah, but my opponent opened with 2 Namis, and that just created a lot of advantage for him. So what ended up happening was that he just had, I believe, 3 Rush Zoros, Otama Pistol, and then, you know, the 5 cost unblockable Luffy on top of that, and it was just, you know, too much. And I didn't have too many counters either to kind of block out the 6k swings that were going towards my leader. So I ended up losing this one. And thinking about the matchup more as a kid, it might actually be better to let the Zoro player go first, just so that they don't get the extra card advantage. Because going first against Zoro, you're letting them get the extra card draw, and when you do the first swing into their leader, you're going to give them another card. So you end up getting them 2 extra cards by choosing to go first, which may not necessarily always be the best, because the way you win this matchup is to kind of starve the red player of cards, so where you you know, keep them off of like gaining more advantage out of their characters and getting them to a state where their hand size is only like 1 or 2 cards, so it's very easy for you to kind of stabilize, build up a board, and create a situation where it's very, very hard for them to come back from. Because as kid, you really only need a couple of turns to kill them, just because your leader can, you know, attack twice in 1 turn and get really big swings, and that, you know, they can't really counter out of or you know, block, because you can just rest their choppers. So that's something to think about, just to, if you do end up winning the Dairo, to choose to go second against Zoro. Round 2 I played against Odin. I think this is a deck that's definitely worth respecting in the current meta, just because Odin is a green leader, and green is arguably the best color of this meta right now, and so he's playing with all the best cards. And this deck, my opponent opened with double Okiku when he had 4 Dons because of the leader ability. He plays 1 Okiku, use leader ability, make 2 Dons active, and play a second one, and he had a lot of pressure on me, and I don't know how I got out of this one, but I think it all came down to me realizing that I wasn't really able to control the board anymore, and I kind of just swung in and hoped that he didn't have enough counters in his hand to you know, defend himself. So yeah, that's pretty much what it all came down to. So very, very close game there. Round 3, it was against Luffy. So this game was really close as well, and I kind of realized I was in a state where I wasn't really able to survive another turn. So I ended up going for the lethal, and my opponent, I think he was sitting on like 5 or 6 cards, but he didn't have enough cards to, a lot of them weren't actually counters. I think he might have only had 1, maybe 2 counters in his hand. So I was fortunate enough to win this one. And what I did, and I was pretty proud of, was just to play the ACOS kid without resting him, to, you know, play another character, because what the cards that he had were in his hand, it turned out to be 2 Otamas and 1 round table. So if I rested the kid right away, then he would have been able to deal with it. So because I played him as active, and then in my turn I was able to get 1 attack in with him first before he was able to deal with it the turn after. And at that point it was a bit too late because I was in a position where I can go for the lethal swing. So yeah, so that match was also very close. Round 4, another really close match against the Mirror. So this one, we both kind of were setting up our board. He had a Basil Hawkins, I had a Basil. He had an ACOS, I also had an ACOS. And but I think what really tipped the favor for me was that I had the blockers to protect my ACOS. So I ended up, you know, attacking with my ACOS first, whereas he kind of just left it as active, and I think it's because he didn't feel like he could really protect his ACOS, so he kind of just never attacked with them, just kind of left them there, which it's kind of debatable whether that is correct. Like, maybe it's better to realize, even if you're not going to be able to protect him, or you know, be able to get a lot of value out of him, it's still correct to kind of just attack to set the tempo and try to you know, go for the tempo plays, like do big swings with your leader. But you know, it's something where the Mirror is not easy, and I would say that there's no right or wrong, and I didn't know exactly what he had in his hand. So yeah, so that's how that game played out. Round 5 was against Doflamingo. This is a matchup that I was really comfortable with, mainly because I've been on the receiving end where I played Doflamingo into kid, and I would just get absolutely crushed by 8-cost kid. So my opponent just did not have any 7k attackers, no Virgo, no 7-cost Dofi, no 9-cost Mihawk, and his best attacker was just, you know, the 6k Pacifist, and that's honestly not enough to blow through the 8-cost kit, because blue really just does not have an efficient answer for 8-cost. So I was able to win that one. Round 6 was against Luffy. This one was a very interesting one where neither of us really saw our top end cards. I think I had 1 8-cost, but then he was able to deal with it pretty easily, as red typically does. But after that, we both drew pretty mediocre. Like, he kind of just had the 2k counters, and I just had Nekos and killers, the 3-cost killer, and, you know, a lot of blockers. I think at one point I played 3 of the blocker killers and attached a Dawn to each one just so I can draw cards and try to see my top, and I just kind of did it, and neither did my opponent, thankfully. And what ended up happening was just like I attacked with my 3k attackers, chipped away at him, and eventually got the win. And round 7 against Zoro, honestly, same kind of story as round 1. I chose to go first, have my opponent open with 2 Namis, and, you know, same thing, just I play 8-cost, Otama Pistol, Zoro, and just lost. Like, it's just too much pressure. And yeah, this was a matchup that I felt like green should win. It's like favored in, and I don't know, it just didn't really turn out in my favor. And yeah, I might try going first or second against Zoro going forward and see how that plays out. And it's something you guys can try as well, and feel free to let me know how you would play in this matchup as well. Round 8 against Luffy. This was another weird one where my opponent had 2 5-cost Luffys just sitting on the board. He never attacked with them, and after the match he told me that he was waiting for me to drop 8 cost so that he can get multiple attacks into the 8 cost, and you know, I kind of respect that, but at the same time it's you know, he's kind of letting me just, instead of spending Daunt to deal with the Luffy, he's just letting me set up my board first, like play 7 cost and you know, Basil Hawkins and things like that, and you know, without him applying a lot of pressure, because if he attacks into me, does a 7k swing, I take the hit, you know, I really had to get rid of the character on the board because I don't want to take another hit. But him not attacking with it is like, okay, I guess since he didn't get that first hit, and I can play, like, do my plays. So not really sure if that was, you know, correct as well, same as, you know, my round 4 opponent, but you know, I it's something that I personally wouldn't do, but you know, based on his hand, that might have been the right play as well. So yeah. And round 9 was another Kid Mirror, and this one was, you know, a very, very close game where my opponent had double Basil Hawkins on the board, and I felt like I was really going to lose this one because he kind of started going for the tempo play, attaching lots of Daunts to his leader. He got me down to 1 life, and I didn't really have blockers in hand, but I did have 1 Bonnie, and that Bonnie searched me a 5-cost Law, which I used to bounce the Bonnie, play Bonnie, and to get another Bonnie search to get a killer, and that let me survive 1 more turn where I was able to drop the 8 cost, do another Bonnie search, get another killer Bonnie, or killer off of the Bonnie, and then from there I was able to, you know, set up a winning scenario where I can do a big double swing with my leader, swing with the 8 cost, and be able to win there. So Bonnie is a very crazy card and really turned the tide in your favor, and it was a really, really crazy match, and I don't know how I won that one. So yeah, those were my matchups, and I'll show you guys the deck that I played. So yeah, again, I played Kid, probably the best deck in the format, and, or I should say, you know, leader. My deck, I probably would change some things. So some differences from my deck profile is that I cut out the Paradise Waterfall, I put in Straw Sword. I think Straw Sword is very strong. People say that it's only good in the mirror, but it does come up where your opponent plays a character unrested and he's like kind of has the tempo, and you use Straw Sword to kind of use it as a sort of removal in a way, to just, you know, try to get rid of a card from your opponent. You know, like just bait counters out of your opponent. My last round, my opponent played Basil Hawkins, and I was able to Straw Sword his Basil Hawkins and get in 2 AK swings, and you know, he ended up discarding 4 counters out of his hand, which was huge because this one Straw Sword essentially took out 4 counters from his hand. So I was very, very happy with this card. Another change I made was I played 1 more Law over I can't remember what exactly. Oh yeah, I took out the 2 Shachis because I felt like it wasn't that impactful. Yes, it's another blocker for a Kid and it can block Shanks, but at the same time doesn't do enough, and we already play a lot of blockers already, like Beige, the Killers, and Law himself is also a blocker, and I was pretty happy with having the extra Law just because of that play I mentioned where Bonnie search Law, Law bounce Bonnie, get Killer, and you know, me being able to live that turn was very good. But I might cut this down to 2 to put another 7-drop. I think 7-drop is just really, really good. in this meta right now because we don't have that many blue players, and I don't think there will be that many blue players at the Treasure Cup compared to the other decks like, you know, red or purple or green, and 7-drop is very well positioned in all of those matchups. And if I do play more 7-drops, I might play a Paradise Waterfall instead of Punk Gibson, just because of the synergy Paradise Waterfall has with a 7-drop kid. I am still playing the one Punk Gibson though. I was pretty happy with this. It's definitely a card that it's very good when you have it, when you have, you know, your ACOS setup, or if you just need to survive one turn so you can go for the lethal swing with your leader. And sometimes I just leave 2 Dawns up even though I don't have Punk Gibson, just so that my opponent has to respect it, so meaning that he has to attach extra Dawns to his characters even though he doesn't have to. So yeah, I think one Punk Gibson was enough. I don't like having too many events in my hand, kind of just like clogging up my hand and me not being able to use my Dawn as effectively as possible during one turn. So I was pretty happy with the one Punk Gibson, and I also added one Yamato. She was okay. I played her once. She baited out a jet pistol, but I think that game at that point I was already winning anyway. But in theory against red, this is your best card because you want to take the game to a simplified game state where your opponent only has 1 or 2 cards in their hand, and then you just drop a Yamato, sway into their life with Yamato, make sure they don't get, you know, any extra cards to be able to come back and you know, take the rest of your life away. So you know, triggering things like what was it, Jet Pistol or Red Hawk from their life, so just to, you know, guarantee the win in that sense. But I think 1 is pretty good. I know some lists run 2, but you know, when she's good, she's really good. Like, she'll just win a game on her own, but in some situations she just does not do enough. Like, she is just a 5-cost 5k, which is, but at the very least she is a 1k counter, so she's not like a completely dead card in your hand. So I did like running the one Yamato just for those situations where, you know, both me and my opponent are just top decking. In those situations, Yamato's the best card. And I am still playing the one X-Drake. I might consider cutting X-Drake for another killer, just because 5 cost is a little bit steep. Most of the times I feel like the turn I played this card, I really can't do anything else that's super impactful, and that's, you know, not really good enough for me because he doesn't get crazy value like Hawkins or 7-drop. So if this is my only play for the turn, it feels a little bit lackluster. And killer being 3 cost lets you do things like, you know, play your other high impact cards while also getting more or less the same effect. You know, killing an opponent's rested card that costs 4 or less is only relevant in blue, but I feel like against blue you're probably winning anyway, just the turn that you drop 8 cost. So yeah, that's something I'm probably going to change if I were to change this deck. Other things, you know, running the 10 2k counters with the 2 Beppo, I think that was pretty good. I never really felt like I was flooded with 2k counters, although that did happen once in an online match, but you know, once in, I don't know, like 30 matches, it's not too bad in my opinion. 4 Okikus, I know some people run 3. I think 4 is good because I do like going first as kid, and I do want to see the curve of, you know, Beach, Okiku into Hawkins into 7-drop. So yeah, that's why I run the 4, just to have the extra chance of seeing it in my opening hand. And that's pretty much it. I guess I can talk about Rizal. I think Rizal's pretty interesting. I might play more of him. Yeah, being able to get extra card draws, a simplified game state is very good. You can also just attack with them, and while he's behind an 8 drop, just for as a way to, as a card draw engine essentially, which is pretty good. Like even though you're not doing damage, you're just drawing cards, and you know, being able to get extra advantage while behind an 8 cost is going to ultimately win you the game. And your opponent really does have to deal with it. Like they have to spend an attack into this, because they really shouldn't let you draw this many cards, get that much advantage, because unless they're very close to killing you, they're slowly going to lose the game. And that's pretty much it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope some of my experiences will help you in your treasure cup going forward. I won't be attending any more treasure cups, unfortunately. And yeah, there's tons of deck profiles out there, and hopefully this deck profile was able to help you guys make some good decisions on your deck going forward, whether you're playing Kid or playing against Kid. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of the deck, what you would change, and yeah, you know, overall, if you're going to the treasure cup, hopefully you guys have a good experience as well. Yeah, and that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.